Hello, 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 and welcome to yet another episode of your favorite podcast, Futon Talks. I am excited to, as always, be talking with my best friend and co-host, Christopher Midling.
Hello, hello, hello.
Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for each of your hellos. I am grateful, as always, to be taking up space in your house and taking up your time from your wife.
Space in my heart, let's say.
Aw, thank you, sir. It may be a little space in there, but it's big enough for me. Just like the game we're covering this week. It may not be a very long game, but it's big enough for us. And it's it'll lead to some good conversation. We're talking about, for those who can't read, Little Nightmares. Ooh.
Yeah, I like that.
You're welcome.
When will this come out? This will be near Halloween.
Yeah. It's going to be out in a couple days from now. What's today? My watch
26th.
doesn't tell the time. 26th? So yeah, it'll be out just in time.
5 days.
How exciting.
Mm-hmm.
We like to keep things spooky, especially during this month. We're going to have some more spooky things coming out. We're going to have an episode on Visage, or Visage, for those who are feeling frisky. And we also obviously have this coming out. And who knows, there might be a couple more spooky things in the work.
We'll see.
We'll see. If you guys get us that 50th subscriber, oh my gosh.
Or if you head over to Patreon.
And support us, along with our good friends, Emmett Norris and John Medina. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for your support. It means the world to us. And if enough people start subscribing on Patreon, there'll be stickers, other rewards,
T-shirts,
savings, funds, 401ks, posters,
cars,
full-length films.
Just turn us into Mr. Beast, please.
I want to be Mr. Beast for you. And perhaps you could be
Myself?
Logan Paul.
No.
Or Jake Paul.
No.
We could fight each other.
Yeah.
And then, then Conor McGregor would finally fight us.
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
this is finally happening. I'm excited.
I like it. And that is patreon.com/Futon Talks.
Yes, sir. Whatever you want to throw our way, we love it. We're excited. And anything you donate goes back into making more of these. More video content, more audio content, and overall just more podcasts. Mm-hmm. We'd like to do more than just the weekly episodes we have in the past, but it's just really hard to do without extra support. So if you want more of that, come on in. Come into our abode.
Futon Talks.
No one, our wives, but besides them, no one. My mom doesn't want more, apparently. Doesn't listen to any of it. I can say that because she'll never listen to this. If you guys have moms that support you, go give them a kiss. If you have a mom like mine, still give her a kiss. She's great. Anyways, on to the show. Man, I think the best way to start is the way we're always supposed to start, but only do 50% of the time.
Yeah.
What are your 3 words? If you had to describe Little Nightmares in 3 words, which ones would you choose?
Little, for sure. No, short. I'd say sound.
Interesting.
Stylistically sound.
I like that.
I'll have to make it a 2-worder. I'm sorry. And so I got short, stylistically sound. What's one more?
I don't know.
Familiar.
Ooh, familiar. I like that.
What are yours, buddy?
I think my words would be these. The ones I'm about to say.
Say them.
Burton. But not even just Burton. More like inspired by film. And we'll go into that more later. Mm-hmm. But just that kind of idea. Inspired by a couple specific properties. Or artists, perhaps. Mm-hmm. Another kind of idea or word would have to be... maybe like contrast. It kind of is the same thing as little, though, as small. Just the huge contrast between characters and environment and stuff. And the last one, or small. I'm just going to say small as well. Never mind. No contrast. So, like, inspired by films, small. And then I would say evolution.
Evolution, wow. Like Pokemon?
Yeah. Actually, technically, yeah. But no. I mean, like, it takes a formula that is pretty well set, and I think it really does take it to the next level in a way that I really, really personally enjoy a ton. And that's the 2/2.5D platformer, side-scrolling horror platformer. You know what I mean? I'm not sure horror, maybe more suspenseful platformer. You have Limbo, you have Inside, and then you have Little Nightmares. And they kind of follow this really interesting path where one evolves into the other, evolves into the other. Of course, the first two games that I mentioned, Limbo and Inside, are both by Playdead, different studio from the same region. But this is made by Tarsier, and this was their second game they made, and their first game that was their own IP. The other game they worked on was Little Big Planet for Vita, which is a big shift in tone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was my main idea I wanted to start off talking about is just, oh, by the way, spoilers. We're going to spoil the heck out of this game, maybe even the sequel, so beware. If you want to play this game, I would say it's good. Go and play it. And then I think it's on sale right now for $7. So go buy it. It's a great game. And then come back and listen to us and we'll talk about it. But I feel, going back to what I said, that this game is a really good evolution of the formula that we kind of saw Playdead lay the groundwork for in Limbo and then Inside and then this. So what do you think about that? Do you think that this is an improvement? Do you think it adds something new to it? Do you think it's good? What do you think about it?
I think it's a good game. It's kind of unforgivable. It doesn't have a platinum. That's something that these games just don't want to have, I guess.
I don't know why.
Limbo and Inside are the same way.
It could easily have a platinum.
Yeah, you just have to ask for it.
It's the Nordics. The Nords. They don't know.
My people know nothing.
That's right, Chris. This is your fault.
It's a good game. I spent a lot less time with it than you have. You've played it twice now.
Yeah, I played it twice.
And you played the DLC.
And I played the DLC.
I spent 3 hours.
Yeah, we had a pretty quick playthrough.
So my opinion is based off of that one experience, kind of. I don't know if it's an improvement for me from Inside. I mean, like, you can compare them in like an evolutionary term. I think this came out 10 months after Inside.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, Inside is still numero uno. I just remember playing Inside with you when it came out and just having my mouth agape the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
That game made me feel so dirty and made me feel uneasy.
Mm-hmm.
And it left me confused, but also like, I mean, I guess confused is a good word, but it left me with a certain feeling that wasn't a great feeling, but it was a strong one.
In short, it made you feel like you had just watched Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
Dirty, confused.
Yeah. And that game was really disturbing at times.
Mm-hmm.
Socially, visually. It was a pretty...
There's some weird stuff.
Pretty bummer. Pretty much a bummer of a game. Let's just say.
Pretty much a big bummer.
This game is good. I like this. I love yellow. And 6, the main character, is wearing a yellow raincoat.
That's right. So
the yellow was a nice contrast from everything else in the game. And I don't know. This game didn't leave me with that same feeling that Inside did. Doesn't mean it has to. I think Inside is one of those once in a while games that come out.
Mm-hmm.
You love it or you hate it. It's kind of like Death Stranding in a way. It's just like, it's like anyone can play it and probably find something in it that they like, but it's not for everyone. Yeah. But you can still appreciate it being a good game.
I feel you. Yeah.
But Little Nightmares it's good.
I like that.
It you brought up Spirited Away.
Yes.
And it is totally like Spirited Away by the end.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things in this game that aren't said or explained very well. Maybe that's the point. Like, you don't know, at least I didn't know that we were like underwater for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
Until I said, like, oh, is this a ship? And from then on, it was like, oh, that's why we keep swaying back and forth slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I mean, there's just some things like, what's the relation between you and the lady with the mask? But I guess this could have been explained in the sequel, which is a prequel. Which I want to play the prequel, sequel, the pre-sequel. Yeah,
Borderlands. You should play it.
Have you played it?
No,
We
but
should play it together.
I know, like, we should play it together. I will say off the bat though, I think we'll be disappointed.
Darn.
It looks awesome, and I think it plays great, but thematically, I'm not in love with it, and I'll explain it without spoiling the second game. But before we get there, I want to. We can give a quick summary of this game, its themes, as well as I'd like to give my thoughts on it as a successor to Limbo and Inside. I agree with you, man. I really like Inside. I remember playing it with you. Great experience. We played Limbo. We played Limbo together, correct?
No.
We just talked about it because you'd played it and I'd played it on my own.
I played it on the iPad.
On the iPad? What an interesting experience. I didn't know you were a mobile gamer.
I was when I was 12, I guess.
Play some Genshin Impact over there?
No.
But
and I guess this should also be said, I don't like Limbo.
I know. Chris has no taste. Limbo is awesome. I think I prefer Limbo to Inside, but not by a lot. You know, I love the color palette, and that there is no color palette. I love the gray and black and white, which is kind of similar to Inside, where Inside just adds red. I like the art style. I prefer the art style in Inside, but there's just something about Limbo that I really, really enjoy. I like its story more. The story of the purgatory and your sister, and it's very esoteric, but I like it. Inside is, I would say, just as dense and unyielding with its story. Inside's good. I don't know. I'd like to go back and play Inside with you again, because I honestly don't remember it super well, besides the end. But I think what I like about Little Nightmares is it's a tad more accessible, a little bit more overtly scary, and I just feel like it's a real world. You can interact with it in so many ways. You can like pick up and grab onto almost anything. It's a very tactile experience when you play it, and there's things that seem like mistakes, but when you understand the story, maybe, or when you look into it more, you realize, oh, this just means something. And
sure. And
I love the art style. It's Burton-esque, right? I mean, Tim Burton could have been the artist behind the whole world. It's a little bit less whimsical, a little bit more dark, but it's got his style.
It is very much like a Ghibli and Burton combination, a little concoction. Oh,
and what's the Roald Dahl? Those horrifying books we read as kids. Oh, you might not have read them. There's one where like this family glues all their stuff to the ceiling and they like die, and Matilda is a Roald Dahl book. Huh. Anyway, he has all these horrifying books. They're like all weirdly dark. Anyway, Roald Dahl had a similar art style too. It's just this slightly disturbing but cute, right?
Yeah,
I love
my favorite.
I just love the way this game looks. To me, it looks phenomenal. I love how it feels like you're looking at a dollhouse and just watching your character go through it. For the most part, I think the 3 dimensions serves the story and the game a lot. Every once in a while, it's annoying because you're trying to jump off something and you jump the wrong way. But for the most part, it works very well. I think the puzzles in this game are great. I really enjoy all the puzzles, and I feel like they take more of a center stage than they do in Limbo and Inside.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in those games, it's more about just the exploration and the atmosphere. In this game, it has both of those things, but it feels to me like it's more of a focus on the puzzles. And I think for that reason, I enjoy the gameplay in this game more.
Mm.
But beyond all that, I just really like it. I don't know if it's my favorite. I think it might be, just because of the experiences I've had playing it. I've just really, really enjoyed it. And the DLC is really good. And it's just a really tight, if you play the DLC, 6-hour experience. If you don't play the DLC, it's like 3.5 to 4. It's just a really good, tight experience. And that's it kind of also embodies the story. It's this self-contained narrative that all happens within this ship called the Maw, which we'll get onto. And the story just feels small and like you're just a tiny part of a bigger thing going on, but it's not like huge. Mm-hmm. It's just this ship with this crazy lady at the helm, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's just a ship. And I think that's where the second game goes wrong. But we'll get into that.
Interesting.
Should I give a brief synopsis as quickly as I can of this game?
Yeah, sure.
All right. For those, again, if you haven't played it, go off and play it, come back. So you play as this little girl named Six, or as this little boy. It actually doesn't say, but I assume she's a girl.
I think it is a little girl.
But her name is Six, and we don't really know why. It kind of explains it in the next game, but it doesn't really matter. So your name is Six, and you wake up in a suitcase, and the suitcase has some pictures in it. It looks like you've been living there for a while. Who knows how long, but it definitely hasn't just been like a day or anything. It seems like you've been there for a little while. You go off, and I assume because you're hungry, you leave your suitcase trying to find food.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like. And throughout the story, there's a theme of hunger. Not just for the ship consuming people, but for the people that come into the ship consuming things. And your character is hungry, and the lady in charge of the whole place is hungry for power, and then others are hungry for money. Hunger is a big theme in it. Anyway, you leave your bed out of hunger, and you make your way through these living quarters where it looks almost like a nursery, where they're just keeping kids. They keep them with toys, and there's like a little bathroom, and there's an area where they can all sleep and stuff, but it's obviously not right because there's like electric bars on either side of the play area, and there's this horrifying janitor with like long snake arms and stuff. It's almost right, but it isn't, you know?
Yeah.
And as you continue out, you go by a cafeteria where one kid is eating, and he gives you some food. You eat for the first time, and you have this like weird attitude about eating. You're like a dog that hasn't been fed ever.
Yeah.
Anyways, you like gorge yourself on this bread or whatever it is that this kid feeds to you. But it's important to note that these kids are taken care of to a point. They're fed, they are nurtured, but then you go into the next couple rooms, and that janitor with the long snaky arms is wrapping dead, well, we hope dead, children up in like, cloth or whatever, and he sends them over to the kitchen. So you can presume that the reason they're raising these kids is so that they can be eaten, right? And the next area you go into, trying to move quickly here, this is the second chapter, there's only 3. You start to go through this kitchen area, and they're preparing these meat slabs, which were formerly children, but also formerly the guests at the place. You remember the part where there's like the sea of shoes?
It's a great part.
It's a great part. It's obviously Holocaust imagery, right? Everyone's seen the photos of all the shoes that were left outside the, crematoriums and stuff. Well, that's for a purpose. It's supposed to evoke the idea of some sort of genocide. At least this is the theory I ascribe to. There's like a million different theories about this game. But to me, it makes sense that it's supposed to evoke that idea of genocide. I mean, it kind of has to, because where else would the shoes be coming from, right?
Yeah.
But they're not children's shoes. So it's not the kids' shoes that are being put into food and eaten. It's the shoes of people that are larger, and the only people that are large enough for those shoes that you find are the guests of the Maw, or the ship that you're on. And so one can kind of surmise from that these guests are being gathered with a purpose, not just to feed them, but to kill them. They're there, like the reason the Maw exists is to kill these people, because otherwise what else would they be dying from, right? It has to be, it seems malicious. Plus in a world like this, what would it be other than malicious? Anyway, so you swim through the sea of shoes, and you find the meat that is the children, also some fish, and I believe also the people that are being killed, the ship goers, as it were. I think they're being chopped up too. And anyway, you go through this kitchen where they're preparing the different varieties of meat. You hide from the kitchen staff and all this stuff. And I mentioned it when we were playing yesterday, and I looked it up afterwards, and it seems like it is a thing. But I thought that it looked like the chef's heads were helmets.
Okay.
They looked like they weren't their real heads. And sometimes they like reach under and move the head around and like itch their neck. And at first we thought it was just like clipping, like a bad model.
Yeah.
But there'll be a reason for this later. But just know that I think the chef's heads are not actually their heads. I think they're wearing some sort of bodysuit or some sort of mask.
I wonder if any of the imagery is how Six perceives it.
And that too.
Okay.
I think that's got to be part of it, right? And that's got to be part of why it's so wonky.
Mm-hmm.
It's from like a child's perspective.
Yeah. I guess you have one more chapter, right?
I do.
Because I have questions and things, but I'll wait till you're done.
Yeah. Get in your place. So you get to the end of the kitchen, you escape the the chefs, and you go through, I think it's called not the residence. Anyway, it's the dining area.
Mm-hmm.
And you see all the guests who are just gorging themselves, and it's pretty disturbing. They're just these huge people, and they act like animals. They just are shoving food into their mouths ceaselessly. And you escape from them. They try to eat you, maybe because what they're eating is already other children. Who knows? Yeah. But you get through, and you kind of make it all the way through this area, which is obviously inspired by Spirited Away. I mean, it's like 1-to-1. And that's not a bad thing. I think it's awesome, and it's super, super effective at being creepy and scary, especially as a kid who had like nightmares about No-Face trying to murder me, because Spirited Away is freaky. Anyways, so you make your way through the dining area. At one point, you stop to eat a gnome who offers you a sausage. Very sad. Very, very sad. That's at the end of this area. And you make it through there. You get past all of these guests. Also, you do see a guest being killed here through one of the paper screens that are in the dining area.
Right, yeah.
One of them is being chopped up, and that's kind of leads back into the other idea. But you get through the rest of the dining area, and you go into a part called the residence, and this is where the geisha, or the lady with the mask, is. And she uses some sort of weird cosmic powers to kill you if she catches you, and it's a really, really short area. Mm-hmm. But eventually, you are able to kill the lady by using a mirror, and her reflection causes her to die, essentially, and then you eat her. And I thought that you were her daughter, but it turns out you're not. If you've played the next game, it's pretty obvious that there's no way you could be her daughter, simply due to time and space, right? You're just not where you need to be at the time to have been her daughter. But you kill her, you eat her, and you kind of absorb her powers. And then you suck everyone's life out of them and go to the surface. That is a pretty quick summary, but I can try to connect the dots here thematically before you ask questions. Is that cool?
Yeah.
So what I think is going on is that, and this isn't like my idea. I got this from like YouTubers and wikis and just threads that I tried to read. You got ideas on your own, but they kind of thought of things the same way I did. But so just like Google Little Nightmare story or something, and you'll come upon the same things I did. But as you go throughout the whole story, there's pretty much no mirrors that aren't broken. There's one that you break, but pretty much every mirror in the whole place is broken. Evidently, someone doesn't want to see themselves, and I think that's the lady. Mm-hmm. I think that she... And you see this in the DLC, which I could go into as well, but in the DLC, you see the geisha's face without a mask, and she's kind of like touching her face, and she's like hideous. Like something happened to her. And so she wears this mask to look beautiful. And I think what's going on is that she became ugly at some point for some reason, and she, as a result, set out on a quest to destroy everything that was beautiful around her, right? Starting maybe with children, but then extending that to everybody else, trying to get everybody to come onto the Maw so she could not only make them fat and ugly by, helping them give into their vices, but also then by killing them. The less people there are, the more ugly, fat people there are, the more, beauty there is for her to stand out.
Sure, yeah.
And I think that's why the chefs have masks. Maybe they're more normal people that aren't deranged looking and disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And so she makes them wear masks that make them look deranged and disgusting. And then pretty much every other person that works for her is some abomination, right? You got the janitor. He's just absolutely hideous. And then in the DLC, you have the granny, and you have several other people that are just like these horrifying creatures that are in her employ, or at least that are fostered within the maw. And so I think that's kind of the whole idea, that she's committing this genocide against people that are in between her and the power and beauty that she wants for herself.
Yeah.
And it's kind of showing the things that you do because of the hunger you have, right? She has this hunger to be the pinnacle, to be beautiful, to be powerful. And you see the same thing happen to Six. Six isn't like a good character. She's the protagonist, but she's not like morally or ethically superior. Mm-hmm. She goes and she is eating the gnomes who are her friends, and she uses a cage with a little kid in it as a stepping stool to get to a place she needs to be, leaving him behind. She never helps anybody. And it shows again that like what your hunger will do. She has hunger for actual food. She eats a living creature that's being nice to her. She has hunger to survive and to get out. She eats a person, and then she steals the life force of tons of people on her way to the surface. Mm-hmm. And the maw itself exists as like a representation of hunger. A maw is a mouth, as you guys probably know, and it eats people to keep going, right? And it destroys things to continue. And so I just think it's thematically a really interesting game, and it has a lot of depth. But those are the overarching ideas thematically, and the story from my perspective. Mm-hmm. So what are your questions? What do you think about it?
So you start the game as Six in the briefcase. Yeah. So does that suggest that her parents came to the maw and like their luggage was just thrown away? So she was just in the luggage.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Because I know what happens in the second game. Mm-hmm. I know that's probably not what happens.
Oh, okay.
But I would like that more, because I don't like the second game story.
Because it seems like I don't know where they gain the children from, unless the families are bringing the children to the maw.
I don't know if they're raising them there.
Yeah,
breeding children.
Yeah, it's very odd. Because like the people come fat.
That's right.
So they're not being, unless they're, reoccurring customers.
Which we think they're not, because their
killed.
Journey ends.
So it's interesting. Why?
She wants to get rid of all the beauty, baby.
Yeah. And then how does that help? So Six takes the powers of the lady in the mask. Mm-hmm. But why does she have powers all of a sudden?
Why does Six have powers?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Because she ate her?
There's just some things that just aren't explained.
I think there's some fantastical elements that contribute to that. I think it might be a thematic reason that she gets the powers, right? Mm-hmm. That if you eat something, it becomes a part of you, whatever.
Yeah, this game is a lot. It reminds me of Inside in the selfishness department. Because for me, at least, that's all what Inside was about, was using everything in your power to get where you want. Mm-hmm. And it's weird. It's I wonder if the whole motif maybe, or just the underlying message is like you shine the mirror on the lady in the mask and like you show her what she really is, and she's this awful person who feeds people and then just kills them. I don't know how, like, I wish I knew more about the world and not just the maw itself.
Oh baby, you would like the sequel. So
I think there's some idea I have about this game and its story that I like, but I'm pretty sure it's not what it is.
Dude, there's no there's no telling. I mean, this is like my perspective and a couple of people, but it's really whatever you think happened. I mean, it's super. This game doesn't say anything to you.
Do you think there will be an actual proper sequel?
Man, I don't know. I feel like there has to be. Okay, so quickly, I'll give a basic synopsis of the second game without telling what actually happens, so you can understand like where I'm coming from. Also, there was an iOS game that is the actual first game,
right?
That's right, and it tells the story of the origin of Six,
okay,
where she came from. In that game, it's a little puzzle game, and you're not actually playing as Six. You're playing as the girl in the yellow raincoat, and you're friends with Six, and you help her escape this mansion that's on an island near the Maw. And anyways, at the end, you, the girl in the yellow raincoat, die, and Six recovers your raincoat after she escapes in Little Nightmares 2. So, pretty much, Little Nightmares 2 is all about a much larger world and a conflict that's going on in the entire world outside of the Maw. And at the end, Six goes to the Maw kind of in search of something to satiate her hunger. Because Little Nightmares 2 ends by revealing the origins of where she gets this hunger, because she loses a part of herself, kind of like her soul. And that leaves something within her, some void that she needs to fill with, whatever she eats due to her hunger. Bread. And gnomes. Also, the gnome that you eat is you in the DLC.
Huh?
Isn't that so sad? So you're a little boy, and you like get so close to escaping. You get into the residence of the geisha. She catches you, turns you into a gnome, and then you go and offer a sausage to Six, and she murders you.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
It's quite sad. I would say the DLC might be better than the main game. Just like gameplay-wise, it's quite good. There's a really lengthy portion in the residence that's really got some great puzzles and pretty spooky. Anyways, what was I saying? The sequel?
You were describing the sequel or the prequel.
The 2, yes. Anyways, the Maw is like a tiny speck that only happens because of random events in the second game. But I really like the Maw, and I think it's so cool, and I think the geisha is so cool, and I really like the themes in this game, and I like the idea that you're her daughter, even though you're not, and I like so much about the second game and how it's a small story, that the second game being all about this huge conflict with magical powers kind of rubs me the wrong way. But it looks great. I mean, the visuals are outstanding. Some of the areas you go through are super spooky. I really want to play it. But just from an outside perspective, looking in on this game I haven't played next to the game I really like, I think it's kind of a loss. You lose that small perspective, I think, that made this game really special. It's like a game that occurred completely in the Death Star or something, and then you get out of the Death Star, and the sequel is about a galaxy far, far away. You know what I mean? It's like that scale. And so I don't know. What do you think about that? You might not have anything to think about because you haven't...
Yeah, I have no idea what to think about. I understand that, though. Not every story has to be this huge, like, global political war thing.
Geopolitical thriller. Little Nightmares 2.
And I don't know, I think it might be kind of a shame to make it a prequel.
I want to know what happens when she leaves.
Kind of a loss, yeah.
Right? Like, don't you want to know what happens when she...
I would like some answers of why. Why? Just why? Why is she doing this? Why does she, Darth Vader choke everyone afterwards after she gets the powers?
Wouldn't you?
It would be interesting, yeah, if she was the geisha's daughter and maybe the geisha thought she was so ugly or she was too pretty, so she just cast her away.
Right? Wouldn't that
be
great?
To the bottom of the Maw.
To be eaten.
Yeah, basically eaten or just left for dead. And, some clarity would be nice.
I agree. I agree.
I probably should have played the game one more time to get a better grasp on how I feel. Yeah, I don't know. I do like the small scale. That was your question. I wish it did. It would. Another game in the mod would be nice.
I agree.
Something that fleshes out the small space that we're in.
Yeah, or at least just following through on the story that has such a big cliffhanger.
Yeah. Or maybe you just go on the boat. You go from the mod to the boat that all the people are coming from.
Hello, a rampage of death.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, they don't even need, it's just in the universe. You don't even need to have anything to do with 6. I mean, the DLC is so good. And you're just playing as some random little boy.
Mm-hmm.
It's really effective. But they hate us.
Is it this, like, no children of men thing?
Right.
Or, no, the children of men. Is that
Yeah,
what
the
it's called?
children of men.
Where there's, like, no more kids. It's just, like, they're committing genocide on kids only.
It's weird. I don't know.
And, her name is 6. Is that anything? Is that her number? Is like a number, like a Holocaust thing, or? Okay, I'll tell you. It's like so hard to explain. You don't have to. I mean, if we ever played the second game, I'm sure we'll do like another episode on it or something.
Yeah, let's leave it for that. We'll play the second game, and even then, it's a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, knowing what I know about the second game, her name and like its contrivances are pretty big, like, stretch through like MCU alternate universe stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's pretty bizarre.
Huh.
But yeah, I like this game though, especially in a vacuum where I only see this game and I don't know anything else about any sequels of any sort. It's like the perfect Halloween game to play with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever, because it's a couple hours, it's cheap, it's a little spooky, you know? For me, it's the perfect game to play with a couple of friends who aren't super into like really scary horror. I think it just fills that niche so well in a way that it fulfills a little bit better than Limbo and Inside because it's more overtly scary. It just really has a soft spot in my heart for that. And the experience I had playing in college with a couple of friends, it was just so fun. It was like so scary in a couple moments when you're being chased, and it's got such great visuals, and it's so easy to just pass the pad over to someone else and make them play because it's a simple game. It's not like Visage where nothing makes sense with the controls. It's just and you don't have to be good at shooting things like in Resident Evil 8 or anything. It's just a great game, and it's short. Again, like one afternoon, one night. Play it on Halloween night. It's just great. So that's how I feel about Little Nightmares.
A part of me wishes I played it by myself.
You should play the DLC.
Maybe I will. I don't want to buy it.
You can just use mine. Because
yeah,
you just download my whatever to your PS5.
Yeah, it's I don't know, because it was more silly playing it with you and your wife than it was spooky. There were some parts that were stressful, but I don't know if they were stressful because of the situation or the mechanics or the controller.
Yeah, you didn't like the controls. I could tell.
I mean, the controls were fine. I mean, it's just like moving around and jumping. There are some confusing things like when it doesn't matter like where the directional pad or directional stick is looking, you jump the opposite direction if you're grabbing onto something.
Yes.
And that was a little not frustrating, but it was like something I get used to for sure because it's not common that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, this game is good. It didn't surprise me, and it didn't blow me away. But like I don't think it's that great. But that's based on my experience with it. But it makes sense because like you played it in college, you have memories attached to it.
That's right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and everyone has such a different experience with each game. But you should
I think
definitely
it's
play
perfectly fine.
Oh, that's nice of you to say.
Perfectly fine.
It's perfectly mediocre. I think I'm just glad games like this are being made. You know?
Someone has to do it.
Someone's got to do it. I'm glad someone is. Just these short, spooky games. What a good time.
Yeah.
But my friend, do you have any fast ones for me?
I have one for you.
Hello.
And it's I want you to tell me your little nightmares.
Oh, baby. I had a lot of little nightmares.
Did this game ever bring up anything from your past?
My mom
Of
always
eating
wears a
children?
mask when she cooks. It's horrifying. No,
Did it make anything percolate from like your childhood?
yeah, in a way. Like I said earlier, with the reminding me of No Face chasing. Oh, what's her name? What's her name in Spirited Away?
Spirited?
That's right, Spirited. I can't remember.
It's been so long.
She has 2 names in it. I know that. Anyways, there's a scene where she is running away from No Face as he splatters around and runs and tries to kill her in the spa area and in the restaurant and stuff. And that's super reminiscent of when the guests or the fat people, I don't know what else to call them, they're chasing you through the dining area. It's really reminiscent. And I remember just being horrified by that image as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you turn off the light in the bathroom and you sprint back to your room before the light actually stops producing light, and you jump into your bed, and it was horrifying. I remember thinking I was being chased by No Face and by, weirdly enough, you remember the movie Slither?
Slither?
Yeah. The movie poster is like a lady in a bathtub and a bunch of slugs.
No.
Someone out there will remember Slither. I have never seen the movie Slither. I've seen the movie poster when I was like 7.
It scared you.
Horrified. The rest of my life that these slugs would come after me and like climb into my bed.
Slugs?
They're like slugs. They slither. Hence the name.
Not snakes?
No, they're slugs.
Do slugs
They're
slither?
like leeches.
Do slugs and snails slither? Is that their...
I don't feel like they do. I feel like they slug. I'm going to look up slither really quick. I don't think it's snakes. I feel like it's leeches. I have never seen the movie, though.
Aren't most leeches like in the water, though?
I don't think Slither cared about the truth. Yeah, this is what the poster... I'll put it up there for you guys. That's what the poster looks like.
Oh my gosh.
And they're like little leeches.
Yeah, they kind of are.
They do not slither, but in the movie they do. And as you can see here in the frame of whatever the movie poster, I just thought they would get me like they got her in the bathtub, but I would be in my bed.
Why would the bathtub have a shower hose?
What a fool! What a foolish movie poster.
She deserves whatever she gets.
She deserves whatever she gets. They're like really creepy looking though. They're just like these.
They're kind of like baby tremors.
Yes. And Tremors also horrified me as a kid. I was really scared I was going to be eaten by a worm.
You thought worms were going to be a problem for you when you were an adult.
Yeah, and they weren't. But weirdly enough, a lot of, wiggly guys were what I was afraid of as a child. You got squishy No Face.
And you got slugs and little nightmares.
Slugs and little nightmares.
Or leeches.
Those did scare me. Because I do not like slithery things.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, my childhood fear. But those are the things that stick out to me from my memory. Was there ever like a movie or a movie poster that scared you?
There were multiple things that scared me as a kid.
You're a scared little boy.
First off, like when I think of the first time that I was actually horrified from a movie was Night of the Living Dead. I remember watching it, and my dad had to convince me that it was just all makeup and everything, which obviously it is. But, it felt really good to overcome that fear as a kid to watch Night of the Living Dead, like of its entirety, just watching all of it at once and not getting scared. It felt really good as like a 9 or 10-year-old.
Wow.
But man, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban with those...
The Dementors?
Dementors.
They're terrifying.
There was one specific night where, we had seen the movie in the theater, and then a couple nights later, I remember having this nightmare in my bedroom, which, by the way, the bedroom I had at the time in Los Molinos was more like a closet.
I feel you.
With a big window.
Big window.
Like a sliding window. It was very, very
like
odd.
A sliding glass door?
Yeah, but a window.
Nice.
So very easy to break in or out.
Well, just into your room.
And our neighbor has a blue nightlight in their yard. I don't know why, but I remember waking up on the floor and looking, and this was like, during January or February, because Harry Potter just came out, and it looked like the train scene.
Oh no!
In Prisoner of Azkaban, and I was terrified. I remember screaming and calling my parents, and no one came.
They just slept through your screams.
And by the way, so it wasn't my room at the time. I must have sleepwalked or something, because it was the room next to mine.
Yeah.
Which at the time was like an Avon room or something.
No wonder they didn't hear your screams.
Terrifying. I remember crying. It was awful.
Baby.
But I've had lots of nightmares as a kid, especially of my mom.
That's horrifying. Why your mom?
I don't know why. But I remember she was always like chasing me. And that scared me.
That is
it was like
scary.
Chasing me in the alleyways of somewhere. Of like the alleyways in Spider-Man. Like that's where she was chasing me. Like during the raining scene when he kisses MJ.
It's supposed to be a good thing, Chris.
But one that really got me, because I slept out in the living room a lot. So I remember one night the TV was on with the static screen, and in my my child's mind, I remember just seeing a figure that in my head turned into my mom, like slowly approaching me.
Oh my god!
And I remember screaming about that. So that was pretty terrifying.
You were just a disturbed child. I love that no one ever came to your screams.
No, never. In the smallest house in Los Molinos, no one could hear me.
Thin walls, small house.
Another one was from, I remember watching The Others as a kid.
Oh, you told me about this.
And how I just remember having nightmares of the creepy old lady with no eyes.
Oh, I understand. Very spooky.
But for some reason, her eyes turned into eggs.
Health?
Maybe.
Resident Evil 4?
Like boiled eggs.
Tasty.
Like
yeah.
sunny side up eggs.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
You have a lot of weird things going on in your psyche.
Yeah. Oh, obviously spiders.
Oh, gosh.
I had terrifying dreams of spiders, especially the ones from Harry Potter. So
really?
I had nightmares.
You don't like Aragog?
Yeah. The worst part was like, it didn't matter if it was daytime or nighttime in the dream. I knew it was coming. And I would remember waking up in the dream, and my house and front yard were infested with giant spider webs and giant spiders. And they would always get me.
For a guy who doesn't like Harry Potter, you just bring it up so often. Is this the reason why you don't like Harry Potter? Like, do you secretly love it, but it left such a painful imprint on you that you say you don't like it?
No. I mean, all this is from watching the movies as a kid. Because my family would go see it every year in theaters. I don't think we ever saw the first one in theaters, or I did. I was too young.
I don't think you were alive.
Probably not. But I remember seeing the second one in theaters. I remember we had to leave because it was like a friend date.
Oh, yes.
And we had gone to go see it, and the friend got too scared at the end, so we had to leave early. I got really mad. I remember being really upset because I wanted to finish the movie.
You should be. What a bad friend.
Because I was liking the snake,
the basilisk.
The basilisk, yeah.
What a freaking loser that friend was. You remember their name?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if I want to say it.
We won't.
Yeah.
That kid's life was already ruined by the basilisk.
Probably.
If he can't face the basilisk, can he face the crushing, like, reality of, you know, like, mature human existence?
It was a girl, so
she definitely can't. Then it's even worse for them.
And what were we 6? When did Chamber of Secrets come out?
It's a real bad start, right?
6,
there.
5.
I think it was 2002 or something.
So we're like 4.
You were 4 or 5.
But yeah, no, Harry Potter is funny. I had just watched all of them with my wife recently because she's never seen them. Yeah,
she's never seen Harry Potter.
She might have seen like scenes.
That's so interesting. You know, because I read the books as a kid.
I never read them.
And I know you've never read them.
I can't read.
I know. It's too baby for him. There's not enough words with 17 syllables. No, I love the Harry Potter books. They're just so good. I mean, I haven't read them, though, since I was probably 12 when the 7th book came out. Mm-hmm. I remember reading the 7th book, and I was 12, and as anybody who reads a lot, I was reading it in the bathroom on the toilet, and I finished the book like that. I know, you don't read enough like I do, but I guarantee you people know if you guys like to read when you were kids. But I finished the book on the toilet, and I remember putting it down on the ground, like throwing it to the other side of the room, and being like, what's the point? What's the point of life now? What's the point?
Oh, because it was over.
Because it's over. It's like I experienced a death. It's like my life came to an end.
You were like hollowed.
I was hollowed. It was horrible. It was like I lost all sense of purpose. Mm-hmm. It's like this world, which had kept me going for the 12 years of my life, was over. Anyway, but all that just to say that Harry Potter was like such a big part of my life as a child, mm-hmm. that the thought of having not seen the movies is like so bizarre to me, or having not read the books is so weird to me. But, you know, I think I was just at the right age to have read the books, even though I was only like a year ahead of you or 2 mm-hmm. years ahead of you. It's just like perfect timing, because my wife never read the books. Mm-hmm. She was just a little too late. She was born in 99, and I think my sister was also really into them, and that probably helped me too. Mm. But just like the thought of having not read them or having not watched the movies is so weird to me. It's got to be like if you grew up when The Lord of the Rings came out, and other people just didn't watch them, and then didn't read them, and didn't watch the movies when they came out. Yeah, it's like so bizarre. It's like, what?
I met people who haven't seen Star Wars even.
That's so weird. Like that's like how?
And they're our age.
That's crazy. So weird.
Can we do some potty talk really fast?
Yes.
Why does reading anything make going to the bathroom so much better?
Going to the bathroom is an awful experience if you're not reading. Doesn't matter. Reading a book? Fine. Reading the back of a DVD case?
Shampoo bottle?
Yes. I will read about like hydrophosphatidylene for like hours if I'm taking a poo. Yeah. Why is that?
I don't know. It's weird, huh?
That is so weird. I've never... Because this is the thing. The last 10 years of our lives, we've had phones. So we can read whatever we want on the toilet. But thinking back, yeah, there was a time when we didn't have phones and read freaking anything. Anything.
I'd read the back of like the tissue package.
Yeah, you'd read like the ingredients on the toilet paper. Mm-hmm. You'd like look at the barcode on like the back of a bag form or whatever.
Strange.
How weird.
I have to say I prefer the shampoo bottles over my phone or anything still.
Wow. You are a man of culture, my friend.
Okay, enough potty talk.
Get out of the bathroom.
Yeah, I guess enough
if you're listening to this on the toilet,
good job.
Just pick up a shampoo bottle instead.
I'm trying to think of any more nightmares I had as a kid.
I remember having nightmares of being left alone. But like abandoned, not like being left to my own devices. Probably because I grew up overseas. Mm-hmm. That's not very important to this, but what is important about it is that my dad lost me once on the beach in Italy, which was the most horrifying experience ever. Mm-hmm. He said, "We're gonna get some ice cream," and I just started sprinting, like without direction. I was just so excited. I just started running. But I didn't run like to where he pointed. I just ran. like off onto the beach. My poor dad like said, "We're gonna get ice cream." Looked at my sister, and I was gone. Like, I just ran, not even toward where ice cream would logically be.
Sure.
I just ran down the beach, and they didn't find me for like 30 minutes.
Wow.
I'm just crying on the beach alone. It scarred me deeply, and I've always been within me a real fear of like abandonment because of that. Just because it was like, there's nothing worse than being like a 5 or 6 year old and realizing that you done messed up. Like no one can understand you.
Yeah.
Not only can they not understand you because you're crying, but like they don't understand your language, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And like, there's all these like, no one looks like your dad. It's like, it was horrifying. Anyway, but I had dreams about that a lot. I had nightmares about that all the time.
That reminds me of a trick my dad used to play on me.
Oh no.
Where
he'd take me to the mall and leave me there.
no, he would like, we would go to Safeway or something. He would get out of the car, or I think Barnes and Noble. It didn't matter. And he would pretend to forget about me and leave me in the car. And then he would come back and get me.
That's amazing. Are you sure he was pretending, or was he just legit forgetting you?
It happened too many times. It had to be like an act. But there was one time where maybe he was pretending. Maybe I was like you and just went the opposite direction of where he wanted me.
Just out of sheer excitement.
I remember the tide pulling me on a beach.
Oh, so scary.
And watching my dad and my grandma walk the opposite direction. So I just thought they forgot about me. And then my dad got me. So,
wow. Was it like a tide in the ocean pulling you out? Or like the tide of people?
The ocean.
That's much worse.
Yeah. It made me very afraid of beaches for... Not Jaws, but just that moment made me afraid of like... I had this image in my head where... like imagine if the sand on the beach was on top of like a plastic plate.
Oh, yes.
And I thought at some point I'm going to get to the edge of the plate and just fall off.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was like a really uncomfortable plate.
It's a bad plate.
I mean, sand is terrible, as Anakin has taught us.
Yeah, it's coarse. Gets everywhere.
The worst thing ever is getting sand in your pockets.
Dude. When my wife and I went to Hawaii recently for our belated honeymoon, because we couldn't go because of COVID. And we went to, like I said, we went to Hawaii, and I don't like the beach. I'm getting there. You know, like I'm trying to overcome this abandonment as a child, coupled with a couple of horrible experiences like you had. I'm getting there. But the sand in the pockets, man, it's horrible. It like tries to make you naked. I can't remember how you say it in English. Denudarte or desnudar. It doesn't matter. But it can be so heavy in your pockets
that it tries pulling down your...
It's ridiculous.
Shorts, yeah.
It makes you...
we had fun in Hawaii.
We had a good time.
When we went 5 years ago.
It's crazy. It feels like it was yesterday.
I don't know how long it was, but we were just acting like idiots in the water.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
But what you said reminded me of another experience at the beach, where we went to Hawaii. It was during the winter on the North Shore, which, for those who don't know, that's when the big waves happen, and the location where the big waves happen. It's where they have like the big wave surfing events or whatever, where these waves can get to be like 40 feet tall. It's ridiculous. Or like 100, feet tall. It's like crazy. Mm-hmm. Anyways, we were there and we were kids because we lived on Okinawa, which, for those who don't know, it's an island below Japan, part of Japan. And the halfway point between Seattle or some airport in California is Hawaii. You stop off there, then you refuel and you go the rest of the way to Japan or to anywhere else in the Far East. Anyways, so we would fly through Hawaii a bunch. Anytime you wanted to go back to the States, anytime you were coming from the States back to home, you had to stop in Hawaii, and often we'd stay a week or a couple days. Mm-hmm. Anyways, we were there during the winter, because that's usually when we were there, because we'd fly home for Christmas or we'd fly back for Christmas anyways. So it was the winter. We were on Oahu on the North Shore, and we were boogie boarding. But we're like, I was born in Iowa, right? or like Utah. Like we don't know what waves. We don't know how to boogie board. So we go and we're trying to boogie board, and my dad's like, oh, we've seen this on TV. And you just go in with the wave. Anyway, some of these waves are like 8-10 feet tall. And I remember trying to boogie board on a wave that was like, not very tall, like 4 feet. I come in, but there's these things called sneaker waves, which come right after a smaller wave, and it's usually huge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, usually you have like a couple seconds to get up and stuff. But I kind of bail and don't do very well on this 4-foot wave. And then the sneaker wave comes and like smashes on top of me. And what they do when you get caught in a bad one is they tumble you around and force you under the water.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just like floating around, being like hit on the rocks and like the ocean and stuff, and not being able to breathe. And you're probably down there for like 10, 15, 20 seconds. And just being horrified. And then I wash up on the beach in front of my parents. There's sand everywhere. I'm like crying because I'm like 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah.
And I don't like the ocean. And then everyone started telling me about riptides. It's a bad place.
Yeah.
I had dreams about that too.
It's a bad song too.
Hello. Someone doesn't like that artist whose name I forget. Vance Joy.
Okay, for you.
You're a meanie. Riptide's great.
Before we get into your fast ones.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a... This is going more into the adult dreams or nightmares, but I remember having them pretty young. But having nightmares of someone dying.
Ooh.
Of someone you knew dying. Or maybe just the feeling of, like, it's weird having dreams of people you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, or with people that you haven't seen for years, and they just appear in your dreams.
Yeah.
And I remember having certain dreams where I would see the parents of some of my old friends from Corning.
Yeah.
But I knew it was like because my parents had passed away.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Because it was at like a church building or something.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It was very odd. And I remember like specifically what they were wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Like one guy was wearing a brown suit with a red tie and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've had multiple dreams of my papa who passed away in 2007, and those are always interesting. They're always very mundane,
Just normal.
but funny enough, they're always of him being alive.
Oh.
But I have dreams of my dad dying.
Oh.
And having those dreams is worse than any nightmare, because waking up with like that horrible feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just interesting. I remember having those very young.
That's interesting.
Dreams of death.
I almost never dream of death. But quickly before, because what I dream of often, the worst dreams are dreams of like me making bad choices and then having to deal with the consequences. Or not dealing with the consequences, more like just seeing a version of myself that I don't like. And then waking up and be like, oh, I can't believe I did that. But like in the dream, I feel that way.
Yeah.
Like I'm ashamed.
But you wake up relieved almost.
Yeah. And then, but the thing is, you have the guilt, like you actually did it. And you're like, why am I guilty? I didn't even do that. You know?
I have money dreams like that where it's like either you dream of having zero money or a ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horrifying dreams.
Have you ever had those dreams? People always say or like talk about it of like their teeth falling out. Those stress dreams. I've never had those.
I've never had them, but people talk about that. And
or like their hair falling out or something.
Yeah. What I do have dreams of, which is stereotypical, is cars. Driving a car, but not knowing how to drive a car.
Oh.
And slowly getting in crashes. Not like slow motion, high speed crashes.
Mm-hmm.
Like really slowly getting into a crash because I can't control it.
I've had a couple of those, but I'm never harmed in the crash.
I'm never harmed.
Yeah, it's just very slow.
It's just that the car is being destroyed, and I know it's my fault. And
it's like trying to drive in hell let loose.
It is like trying to drive in hell let loose. But this is a thing. Sorry, phone. Do you ever dream about people and I know it's Grace. Like it's obvious to me. And in my dream, I know that the person I'm with is Grace, or I know the person I'm with is you, or I know the person I'm with is my dad. but they look nothing like themselves.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
But only
they may even look like another person I know. And I'm like, why do you look like them? I know you're Derek, or I know you're Grace, or I know you're Chris.
No. Kind of. I've had this with Aspen, where it's not necessarily the face is different, but I know it's like a silhouette of a person, but I know it's Aspen.
Yeah.
It's like a visage of Aspen.
Whoa.
So no, I've never had like a dream of like body swapping, but I know who they are.
I have those dreams all the time.
Yeah. What's the weirdest dream you've ever had?
I've had a bunch of really weird dreams recently when I shaved my mustache. So I shaved my face, and I'd had a mustache for 6 months.
Sure.
I'd had a mustache for a while, off and on, but for the most part, there was a big stretch of time where I had a mustache, and I shaved it, and I started having these dreams, like fantasy dreams, where I had a mustache again. And it was like so beautiful and like full, and it was amazing. I would like comb it, like it was long. It was crazy. Wow. And I remember being so happy about it. And then waking up and like, I wasn't sad, but being confused because it was so real. Like the mustache was so real.
Yeah.
Anyways, I woke up and I didn't have a mustache. I'm like, well, it's coming back, baby. And then I started growing a mustache again.
Nice.
But I had a series of them. Like multiple days in a row, I would dream about having a mustache again. Or I'd dream about having a mustache, and then at the end of the dream, I shaved it, and I was very upset.
Sounds like the mustache is very important to you.
It's everything to me. But I don't know why. Like, why have I attached such significance to this?
I don't know.
Maybe I actually haven't, and my brain is just weird. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But those are probably the weirdest dreams. That or like the really slow car crashes. I mean, they're so slow. You don't understand.
Yeah.
It's like it's in neutral, and I'm rolling down a hill with next to no grade. But I can't open the doors. I can't steer. And I slowly scrape against another car or something.
Yeah.
And usually other people are in the car and we're all screaming at each other because none of us can control it.
Interesting.
What is the weirdest dream? I know you've had some freaky dreams. Like you have more abstract dreams than I do.
I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast. I'm sure I have at some point. Maybe I haven't though. But I know I've told you. It's a driving one.
It also involves a mustache, weirdly enough.
It does. Yeah, you're right. I think it was driving. Yeah, I was driving. I remember driving really fast, and like my person looks like someone who would be named Pierre.
Pierre.
So like, think of the, French mustache.
Yeah.
Thing. I remember driving off a cliff and crashing into trees and then like landing still in the car on a railroad track.
Oh gosh.
And I remember the train comes, hits the car, but at this point my perspective is almost like a movie where I am seeing it in the third person happen.
Yeah, you're watching it.
Yeah, I'm watching it. And train hits, and then like just imagine a very artistic shot, a very tasteful shot, where the draw distance is blurred far away, but then you see a head roll towards the camera, let's say, and it's a smiling Pierre, and he winks at the camera, and that's the end. Wow. Very weird dream. It was a one-off. I haven't had it since.
You haven't revisited Pierre?
I haven't.
It sounds like you and I both struggle with the inevitability of fate. Like, I can't control the car. You have one bad thing happen to you, and then a train hits you.
Yeah.
But, Pierre's okay with it, actually, so maybe I'm the only one.
Yeah, he was smiling. He was winking. It was good.
And you are Pierre. Maybe that was your subconscious telling you it's going to be all right.
Maybe.
Even if you get hit by a train.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very strange. That's the only really weird dream I can remember. One day we're gonna have to. I'll have to revisit this dream topic.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's plenty that I can remember.
A million that can be dredged up, right? That you can
You have
come
to go
back to that
through
we've forgotten.
Use the wires in your brains and just connect everything.
And we should go into, because when I was taking my psychology class, there's all sorts of like, Freud had all of these symbols like locked down. Granted, everything Freud did is called into question by like modern psychology, but he had all sorts of descriptions or like explanations for what various topics meant, like a car crashing or teeth falling out or your mother being in the dream, or like he had it all mapped out. So we'll have to go over those and talk about them, each in depth, because they're pretty interesting. But I will say this, I don't have good dreams. Like, have you ever flown? I've never ever flown in a dream. I've never had a good dream.
Oh, I've had those dreams where you just start flying and then you crash land, and they're terrifying. Like, just like you're in the air, like, I don't know, like Gary's Mod or something, and then you just lose control and you just crash down to the earth.
Dude, we weren't meant to have good dreams.
No.
I definitely don't have like weird power fantasies in my dreams. That's just not something I've experienced. It's either totally mundane or it's just bad.
I've talked about the dreams I had where something was very small, but it was very loud to me.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't know if that was a dream or me putting myself in a mental space where I could visualize that.
That's
Because
terrifying.
sometimes, even now, I can
It's so loud.
somehow think of like a tiny detail of a jacket and just hear this pitch in my brain.
Are you Rain Man?
Probably.
Dude, that's terrifying.
It's very odd.
That's awesome though.
Yeah. But good dreams, I've had good dreams, I think.
I never have good dreams.
I think.
You think?
I've had a ton of work dreams, and those are terrible. Those are always nightmares.
When I was a kid, I would have dreams that I was at school, but I'm like just sitting at the desk, no one else is there, and I'm just waiting for 12:55 because that's when lunch was when I was like in 5th grade.
Yeah.
It never came.
I just remembered a terrible dream I had about work.
Is it sayable on here?
Yeah. It's violent, but I remember being in the back room near the baler, and I was helping someone make a bale, and it exploded and shot the bale out at the person, and they died. And being the manager, I remember having to deal with like not necessarily cleaning it up, but calling the ambulance and all this stuff and dealing with it. That was a terrible dream. I remember who the people were. Like, they were my coworkers.
Wow, who was the person that died?
I think it was... I don't think it was Michael. Michael was injured. There was collateral in
Michael
this.
was injured. Oh my gosh.
Unless... might have been someone who worked at the time. They might not be there anymore.
Dude, did you predict the future? They quit, as in they died to you?
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
They're all dead to me. It doesn't matter.
Is your relationship with Michael damaged?
No.
Sure. Maybe in the dream he healed stronger than he ever was before.
Oh.
And it was a symbol.
He's like an Iron Man.
Yes.
But I've had terrible dreams where like something goes wrong or I'm just working in my dream. That's always terrible.
There's nothing worse than like doing work you don't enjoy and then dreaming that you continue doing it and then waking up to go back to doing it.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's like you have no rest. There's no rest for the shelf stalkers, the wicked.
I don't have those anymore. I've taught myself not to get stressed out over work.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's why your teeth don't fall out in your dreams.
That's right. Yeah, I guess I don't get stressed very often.
Mr. Teeth Grinder. That's the other thing, is I remember grinding my teeth so hard that I thought they would shatter. And I still do. Every once in a while, I'll wake up and I won't be able to breathe, or I'm grinding my teeth so hard that I know I'm going to like die.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't function. And I remember when I was a kid, I would bite the side of my bed because I had like a partition on the side that was wood and topped with like a plastic rim. And I would, like, this is the rim, I would hang my teeth on it like this.
That's psychotic.
Because I was terrified of the slithers or whatever. And it helped me feel safe.
That's odd.
It was
Putting
super
yourself
weird.
in pain made you forget about the...
It wasn't painful. It was comforting. Is the weird thing. Anyways, but I would bite. And I think that has caused this weird thing where every once in a while, I'll just be like biting so hard. And I'm asleep but awake. It really does feel like my teeth are going to break sometimes. Especially like... Because it's not like a normal bite. It's like a bite when you're trying to like... Bite like a dog eating corn.
Where you're like, yeah, you're trying to bite one kernel at a time.
Yeah, and so like these teeth, the one in front, feel like they're going to shatter.
That's not good.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
What horrifying dreams do you guys have?
Yeah.
Now that this has become the dream podcast.
Write them down in the comments, please.
Wow, it's been an hour? Okay, sorry. Our bad. I didn't realize. I think probably 45 minutes of that was dreams. You lucky ducks. You got exactly what you came for. I mean, nightmares. This is the same. This is the correct.
These are the
time
little
to do
nightmares.
this.
Yeah, little nightmares we had as children. Yeah.
I want to ask about like weird Halloween things, but we'll leave that for Visage. But
Okay.
what were you gonna say?
I remember having a dream. I was Willem Dafoe and Spider-Man,
I remember that.
so I was like the Green Goblin.
You told me that too. You would be a good Green Goblin.
Thanks.
You're welcome, bud.
You think so?
I just could see you doing that scene where Willem Dafoe is like hearing him talk to himself through the mirror.
Oh,
What a great scene, by the way.
that was a good scene.
What does he say to him?
What?
What does he say to him? You're a little man. I have no idea.
Something like that.
I love that movie.
But what are your fast ones?
Oh yeah, I gotta get my phone off the ground.
Yeah. We'll have to revisit dreams at some point.
Oh, we will.
Maybe we'll do an episode on dreams.
Yeah, oh gosh, Slither. I think we'll get to it for sure eventually.
As in from Media Monocle or whatever they're called.
That's right. I actually don't want to do that dream. I want to talk about Dreams the Minecraft guy.
What is that?
Oh my gosh, you're old. Just kidding. Have you never heard of Dreams? He's got like a mask. And he like releases semi-cringy songs every once in a while. But he's huge. He's like the biggest YouTuber in the world right now. He's got like some ridiculous amount of subscribers, like 26 million.
Wow, no, I've never heard of this.
And he does Minecraft speedruns, which I didn't even know was possible. Because I'm an old man.
Is he a pedophile?
He's very young, so he technically cannot be. I think he's like a teenager. Technically.
Just imagine he becomes of age to be a pedophile and then he gets arrested.
Yeah, he will be when he's 18. No, I don't think he's a pedophile though.
Okay.
Seems like a somewhat stand-up teenager who does Minecraft speedruns.
Okay.
But he releases these songs where he's like, "It's hard to be behind the mask." Because he wears a mask. Why does he wear a mask? Anyways, he like doesn't want people to know who he is so he can have a normal teenagerhood. So he like talks about how hard it is to be behind the mask while he like swims in his millions of YouTube dollars and is praised as a god.
Crazy.
Granted, it would be weird to be a teenager and have your entire fan base be like 8 to 9 year olds.
Yeah.
I could feel pretty alone. Just take off the mask and live a normal life. You've made your money. What are you doing, Dreams? Anyways, doesn't matter. We will not have a thing on him. We'll talk about real Dreams or the PS4 variant. But here are my fast ones, my friend.
Okay.
Would you rather be eaten by 6 or eaten by a rat?
Ooh.
Or by a guest?
6, because she doesn't finish the job. She just takes like a bite.
Yeah, she gets it done. She just like bites the jugular and you're out.
Yeah.
That's true. I think the rat would start on my toes. Progress. Slowly.
Mm-hmm.
You remember, it's not Johnny Lingo. Other Side of Heaven? It was about a missionary from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who went to like Tonga. He forgot to sleep with shoes on.
Uh-oh.
Toes were eaten.
Oh.
He recovers.
Wow.
Horrifying. Anyways, beyond the point. Would you rather have a self-contained story or a global kerfuffle?
Self-contained story.
I like it. Long arms or stuffy pig mask?
Like the characters?
Yeah.
In what way?
Which one do you find more spooky?
Oh. I guess long arms.
I don't like long arms. They should not be that long. Would you rather have the long arms and the short legs or be forced to wear the stuffy pig costume forever?
Oh, I'd rather have long arms for sure.
I like that.
Short legs.
You like to just have augmentations to your limbs. This,
What
along
makes
with
you think
Edward
that?
Scissorhands,
Oh, yeah.
you don't mind the limb augmentations.
Well, it's better than wearing like a big old bodysuit.
I think you're right. Are you saying you hate fat people?
Yes.
Would you rather watch Howl's Moving Castle, which the mall reminds me of, or watch Spirited Away?
Oh, wow. That's a good question.
Because they're both big influences, I think, on this game.
Mm-hmm. It's good. That's a good one.
I'm a good guy.
Huh. Oh, what about you?
Spirited Away.
Really?
But you know, I love Spirited Away. It was like my childhood favorite movie. It was my favorite movie for a long time, and I still really like it. So I got my Naruto running from Spirited Away, not Naruto. So love it.
Yeah, I wonder who created the Naruto run. Was it actually Naruto or something else?
I think it was just anime in general.
I would rather watch Spirited Away.
That's good of you. I haven't seen Howl's Moving Castle in probably a decade.
It's been a while.
I need to see that. I actually have never seen Princess Mononoke.
Mm-hmm.
Need to watch that.
See a castle in the sky?
I haven't seen that in forever. I probably saw that 8 years ago.
I think I like that one more than the other two.
I've heard Akira is good. Not Ghibli, but... Or Ghibli. Ghibli.
Ghibli.
But I haven't seen Ponyo, but I also am not an idiot.
I do not like Ponyo.
You didn't like Ponyo?
No.
Why?
I don't know.
Have you seen My Neighbor Totoro?
Yeah, I like that one.
I've seen that, but I was like 5, so I don't remember it. I had a girlfriend that loved My Neighbor Totoro. Came out of nowhere, too. She didn't like anything else like that. Pretty weird.
Trent.
And then the Kiki's delivery service, that's pretty good. I like that one.
Grave of the Fireflies.
Hello. You pulling out your obscure Studio Ghibli knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of that. Is it good?
Yeah, it's about
Firefly.
Hiroshima.
What?
Yeah. It's basically about, I think it's about survivors of...
By Studio Ghibli?
Yeah. Let me see.
Hello.
Keep talking, though.
Heavy stuff. I
I'll
like
find this
that.
for you.
But, yeah. I think I would definitely choose Spirited Away. It just has such a special place in my heart. I told you I got Grace to watch it. She didn't like it. She was not a fan. I think she thought it was too weird. Which admittedly it is very weird. I don't know if for me as a kid I was just used to it because I liked anime, or if it was because I lived in Japan and like low-key a lot of things are just weird to Westerners, you know? But I grew up with it, so it wasn't. But you liked it and you didn't think it was too weird, so. What information did you find on the Grave of the Fireflies, right?
Yeah. I don't think it's Ghibli.
That makes sense.
No, but it's about like the cost of war and the fire bombings in Tokyo, and
100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Came out in 1988.
Oh, I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, I remember it being really good. Very sad.
Is it on a streaming service?
Probably not.
Oh yeah, anime never is, especially like movies.
Ghibli.
Ghibli's only because the thing is, Ghibli has a weird deal with Disney actually.
But I don't think it is Ghibli, but
either way, I just think some of those titles, because they're just foreign movies,
yeah,
are really hard to get a hold of here in the States.
I'm sure you can find it on YouTube.
We didn't tell you. I like it.
Watch so much stuff on YouTube.
This is true. Kitchen Nightmares.
Yeah,
we'll have to get into that another time. But for this time, that's all the fast ones I had.
Oh, okay.
But it was a great conversation. We had a lot of stuff about dreams and I think it was an interesting talk about the game, especially if you have played it but didn't understand the story. Maybe this is a good thing to listen to. But we're grateful that you guys did listen. And if you guys have had any freaky dreams, any good dreams, anything we said jogged a memory of yours about dreams, send us a message. Write it in the comments on the YouTube video that you're watching. Send us a message on Patreon. Talk to us on our, Instagram accounts. Talk to us on TikTok or whatever you young kids do. Talk to us on Twitter. That would probably actually be the best thing. All of our social media stuff is in the comment, or not in the comments, but in the description below. Yeah. But just interact with us. We want to hear from you guys. We're going to be talking about Visage next week. So tell us what you heard
maybe
about.
this week.
Or maybe this week.
It might be a double feature.
Whoa! That'd be very scary indeed.
Yes, it would.
But yeah, just let us know what you think about it. We heard from Emmett a couple days ago. He's telling us about a bunch of wild stuff about Nightmare Before Christmas and Frankenweenie. Not even directed by Tim Burton. We have no idea what we're talking about. So we love learning.
We never
from
said
you guys.
We were professionals.
Well, you're right. I was like, there's no way we are professionals.
No one's perfect.
No one is perfect. And except you.
Except Willem Dafoe.
Except John Medina and Emmett Norris. So if you want to hear more of the show, you want more of us, you want more of this action, become a patron. We'd love to hear more from you. We'd love to see more of you. And we'd love you guys to see more of us. But we love you guys. We're grateful. And we'll see you maybe later this week.
Ooh. For Halloween.
For Halloween.
Oh, we should have done it. Oh. we should have done an episode on Halloween Town.
Gosh darn it.
Darn it.
We're idiots.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
We leave you with our stupidity. Goodbye.
Love you. Bye-bye.